said, Peter's going to say a few words. As you know, Peter's running for state assembly this year again, and he's going to win this time. Without further ado, Mr. Peter Boyce.
Okay.
So you got extra 5 minutes.
I could probably do without the mic. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Crowd.
I'm used to shouting over the sound of the sawmill. I run a sawmill. I've done it for 30 years. Where to begin? I'll start with a joke. This is a joke that Ronald Reagan told. It says, back in the Soviet Union, a citizen of the Soviet Union goes to the bureaucrat to apply for an automobile. So he fills out a big stack of paperwork, and the bureaucrat goes through all the paperwork, see that all the forms are there, and the bureaucrat says, okay, all your forms are here. And the man asks, well, when can I expect to receive my automobile? And the bureaucrat says, well, that'll be in 5 years. And the man asks, well, will that be in the morning or the afternoon? The bureaucrat says, why do you need to know that? And the guy says, well, because the plumber's coming in the morning. Okay? Now, that's funny. That's funny. Let me change a few of the items in this joke and see if it's still a joke. Let's suppose instead of the Soviet Union, it's not the Soviet Union, it's America. And instead of some guy over in the Soviet Union as the citizen, it's you. And what you're applying for is maybe a coronary bypass, maybe a gallbladder operation, right? But you happen to be over 55. You were hoping, when you filled out all the paperwork, that the bureaucrat, not the doctor, but the bureaucrat, was going to tell you that in 5 years. But instead, what he tells you is, what you need to do now is to fill out this form to apply for euthanasia. It's your patriotic duty now to no longer be a financial burden on the state. That this is what you're going to do. You're not going to get an operation. You're over 55. Your productive years are coming to an end, and it's not economically sustainable to invest in an operation in you. Or if you happen to be a child, and they haven't invested much in you yet, say you're only 10 years old or 12 years old, they haven't made that much of an investment in you, you're expendable. The ones they're going to work on are the ones between 15 and 55 in there, because they're the productive years. And this is what's coming down the pipe. This is not a joke, this is real. You'll have bureaucrats deciding what your health care is going to be. It's going to be extremely expensive, it'll bankrupt the country. Muslims, illegal aliens. Muslims will be exempt because it's part of their religion to not have to buy insurance. But of course the Supreme Court and illegal aliens, they'll be covered. Of course the Supreme Court ruled that, well, this is a tax. Right? Now there's nothing, all the powers that are delegated from the people who get their rights from God and delegate some authority to the state and the federal government, all the authority that the federal government has is spelled out very clearly in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. If it's not there, they don't have that power. And that's backed up then by the 9th and 10th Amendments, which say that all powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, is reserved to the states, to the people, respectively. Right? So if it's not in Article 1, Section 8, they don't have that authority. It belongs to the states and to the people. Now, there's nothing in Article 1, Section 8 about health care. There's nothing in Article 1, Section 8, Jan had mentioned about the C-scope. And a little bit of reading, Jan got me inspired to look into this a little bit. And what it's doing, it's revising American history, portraying the Founding Fathers as anything but what they actually were, destroying the patriotism of the children, giving them misinformation, basically turning them into good little socialists. This is coming out of the federal government. Nothing in Article 1, Section 8 about the federal government being involved in the business of education. These draconian environmental regulations. They're closing down American industry. The entire textile industry in the Carolinas is gone. Steel mills, gone. No new oil refineries built in over 30 years in America. Yet America has the greatest oil reserves in the world, in the Dakotas, in Colorado, Montana. And I bet right here in New Jersey, if we drill deep enough, there are gas deposits. Yet we're dependent on foreign oil, foreign energy. Is it the result of stupidity? If it was the result of stupidity, occasionally they'd make a mistake in our favor. Consistency is not the hallmark of stupidity, it's the hallmark of an agenda. And Obama laid it right out. He said, we're going to fundamentally transform America. Well, transform America from what to what? Well, to what, we're beginning to get a vision of what he's transforming it to. We're going deeper and deeper into a depression. Okay, call it a recession. It's the most severe recession we've had since the Great Depression. So we're going in that direction. And what we're being transformed from is from a constitutional republic. We are a republic. We just pledged allegiance to the flag. We didn't pledge allegiance to a democracy. Pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic, for which it stands. Republic is derived from Latin res publica. Res meaning thing, publica meaning public. The public thing. What's the public thing? The law. The law of the land, the United States Constitution, that binds down the federal government with the chains of the Constitution, so they can't be doing the things that they're doing. So how do we stop it? Federal government's out of control. The Obama administration is intentionally socializing America, converting America into a socialist, followed by communist state. Okay? Well, the people, the American people, are depending on the Republican Party, the Republican leadership, to turn things around, save America. Yet too often, as we saw with the Ron Paul campaign, it's the Republican leadership itself that sabotages those candidates, those constitutional candidates, who would actually fight the good fight to turn things around, who are not in it for career, who are not in it for personal aggrandizement, who are in it because they know that in their heart that one day they're going to have to stand before God and give an account of themselves. That they will not betray their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren. They're in it to fight the good fight. Yet the very people that the American people are depending on to save the country are the ones that block those candidates. So who steps up? You step up. That's why you're sitting here. Because you saw there's something wrong with America. I can't just sit on my hands and do nothing. Because in your heart, you know that you're responsible to God one day. You're going to have to give an account of yourself. What can I do? Well, the least thing I can do is go to the Tea Party, find out what's happening, try to learn something, seeing what I can do to turn things around. So here you are. Well, I teach courses on the Constitution. We've taught them in, well, Catherine helps too. Actually, she's the brains of the outfit. Teach courses on the Constitution. It's a 12-week course. Taught in Cumberland County, Gloucester County, Salem County. We haven't yet taught one in Cape May County. We need to get a large enough group to make it feasible to travel from Millville to here. If you had 20 people or so, you're happy to come down here and teach it. It's $30 for the course. It basically just covers the course of the workbook. We're not making money off it. It's just getting the education out. Because therein is the crux of the problem, is that they get away with what they're pulling because the American people don't know what they're supposed to hold them accountable to. They're certainly not learning it in the public schools anymore. Even my generation wasn't taught. How much worse this generation, not being taught. So they can't possibly hold them accountable to something that they don't know what the standard is. So we need to not re-educate, we need to educate first time around in the principles that America is founded upon. And that's very much the movie that you're going to see. This movie, Monumental, very much focuses on the fundamental principles America is founded on. It's founded on spiritual principles. It's founded primarily on Judeo-Christian principles, on the Bible, on revealed law, which is Scripture, on the law of nature, nature's God, that's conscience, common decency, right? The foundation of the common law, and on municipal law. But Blackstone made it real clear. He said, if municipal law does not conform with revealed law and natural law, then it's illegitimate. So not all law is legitimate. It's got to conform to natural law and revealed law. Okay, how do we solve the problem of the federal government that's coming down the track that is going to do us a lot of harm. Confiscating our guns at a time when unemployment is, in Cape May County, unemployment, the figure is 22%. Understand, that's the official figure. Who knows what it actually is? The official figure is 22% in Cape May County. It's 18% in Cumberland County. Okay? People have been on unemployment for a long time. What happens when those unemployment benefits start to run out? And they've got families depending on them. They start to weigh things as to what do I have to do to bring home a gallon of milk at the end of the day, and I've been there. Jack knows I've been there. That's the time when people become desperate. That's the time when those that still have a little something, a little food in their refrigerator, have their electric lights on, need to be armed. But yet this is the time when now when these laws are being passed, federal gun laws and state gun laws, to deprive us of our firearms. What's the Second Amendment say? Anybody quote the Second Amendment?
Right to bear arms, but I can't do it.
Well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people, us, to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. What part of not be infringed don't they understand? Okay? Real clear. So in a federal law that intends to infringe upon our right to protect ourselves, our children, our wives, our husbands, our relatives, our neighbors, our community, when a federal law violates the Constitution to infringe upon our right to defend ourselves, we still have our God-given right to defend ourselves, then the state needs to step in and exercise its authority as a sovereign state under the 10th Amendment, 9th Amendment, and say, no, that's unconstitutional. You were never given that authority. So you can pass all the laws you want, but in New Jersey, you're not going to come and take any firearms. And any federal agents that do are going to be arrested, tried, imprisoned, fined, what have you. That's what other states are doing, like Montana, Utah. Sheriffs in Utah are standing up. Okay. Or these environmental laws that are passed, Clean Air Act, have closed down so many businesses. The state legislators, if they had the knowledge of their authority under the Constitution, of the U.S. Constitution and the state Constitution, could exercise that authority and hold back the federal government to protect the people. That's why we elect them, to protect us. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, among these life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that governments are instituted among men to secure these rights. Governments are instituted among men to secure these rights. That's the sole purpose, protect us. So we can be free to go about our daily business, not with government with its hands in our pockets, not with government micromanaging our lives, our lands, our livelihoods, but just protecting us, watching our backs for us as we go about our daily business, raise our families, promote our businesses, pursue happiness. And when they don't do that, we have a right to do it ourselves, to protect ourselves. So the state legislators are in a position to hold back the federal government on Obamacare. Pass all the laws you want, it's not going to happen in New Jersey. Hold back the draconian environmental regulations that are closing down the businesses in New Jersey. Businesses, the affluent, are fleeing New Jersey because of the taxes, because of the regulations. New Jersey never met a regulation it didn't like. Hold back the federal regulations. Say, no, pass them all you want. EPA agents come in New Jersey, we're going to arrest them. Well, the education thing, C-scope. Fine, pass C-scope. Other states want to do it, fine. Not in New Jersey. And then some of the other issues. Same thing applies. All the stuff that's coming out of the federal government can be stopped in the state legislature. If the people that are elected understand the Constitution and have the backbone to stand up and hold them back.
They don't now, though, Pete. That's the problem.
They don't. And you know what the problem is? The root of the problem? The root of the problem is that they don't fear God. They don't fear that one day they're going to have to stand before God and give an account of themselves. They take it lightly to betray us, to sell us into slavery. When I was running for Congress, I made it real clear as to how it goes. How it goes is they get elected. They get the anointing of the party and they get elected. They did very little themselves. All the machinery functioned to put them in office. Now they're in office. They like it. Everybody treats them with tremendous respect and honor, and then they're making good money, and it's, gee, you don't have to work up a sweat. You don't have to get callous on their hands. It's nice. And they think, I'd like to stay here a bit. I like it here. I'm going to stay here. How do I stay here? I've got to bring home the bacon to the people in my district. Well, this perk, this would please this group, that would please that group, that would reward this group and that group and these supporters and those unions, and then stuff costs money. How do we pay for it? Well, we can't raise taxes. That would make them upset. They wouldn't elect me next time. Let's borrow the money. Well, who's going to pay it back? Not them. They won't elect me. Who's going to pay it back? Oh, the next generation. And the generation after that. So what does it all boil down to? What it boils down to is they're selling our children and our grandchildren into economic bondage for the sake of their re-election. They should go out and get a real job. The reason they get away with it, the reason they do it in their own minds is they don't fear that one day they're going to stand before God and give an account of themselves. Or they won't be in hell 3 seconds before they realize what a big mistake they made. America is fighting for its survival. And these buggers that feather in their own nests, they could care less. Famous Italian expression, like that's their response to us.
But part of it too is the perks. They don't have the same health care we do. You look at Nancy Pelosi.
No, they're exact. They're elite. Everything they do sets them up as elite.
With the congressional packages. And as long as they don't have to have the same things, is it true that you only have to be in office for 1 day and you have a pension for the rest of your life?
I don't know.
No, it's 1 term.
I don't know.
And you have it for the rest of your life. I mean, who else gets that?
I think it's maybe 1 or 2 terms. I don't know. But as I was running for Congress, that was the last thing on my mind is how much they're making, or what the perks were. I could care less. My thought running for Congress, or now in running for Assembly, I'm going to do everything I can to fight the good fight. Don't matter if I'm the only one. It's like again and again you see votes, you know, in the Congress, 400 to 1. You don't even have to look to see who the one is. You know it was Ron Paul, standing on the Constitution. Even if he's the only one, he'll be out there alone. Why? Because one day, he knows, if you read his bio on his website, he didn't wear his Christianity on his arm, like so many others, and I'm this and I'm that. No, he was more private about it, but he was a very dedicated Christian. And the Founding Fathers, there's quotes from the Founding Fathers, is that the most important thing is that in legislating is that they know that one day they have to stand before God and give an account of themselves. Their fear of God was greater than their fear of losing the next election. And that's what it takes. In elections, it can't be a popularity contest. It can't be a beauty contest. It's got to be who's going to go there and fight? What am I missing? Oh, the 3 R's. It's as simple as the 3 R's. Repeal, reduce, and roll back unconstitutional regulations and legislation and taxes. So many programs are giveaways to buy votes, And who are they selling our children into economic bondage to? Who's our greatest creditor? Communist China, Saudi Arabia. Communist China, the most bloodthirsty regime in the history of humanity. They're a creditor. Bible verse, borrower is servant to the lender. What are they doing to us?
But election fraud is rampant.
An election fraud, okay. It's a
been
valid issue. There's a wonderful video. Am I running too long? There's a wonderful video. It's Hacking Democracy. And it gives case after case after case of voter fraud. And one of the cases that it shows is there's a district in Florida during the Bush-Gore campaign where Al Gore received 15,000 negative votes. So the question is, how can a candidate possibly get negative votes? And they explained how this goes. Is the person has access to the central tabulation software behind the scenes. Could be one guy in his grandmom's basement that has access to that software, right? That's manipulating the vote. They can't just add votes to the candidate they want to win. In this case, it was Bush, okay? So they have to dock one candidate and add those votes to the other candidate. Otherwise, you can end up with more votes than the people that voted in the district. Okay? So let's suppose they docked Al Gore 50,000 votes, but then he only got 35,000 votes. he'd end up with 15,000 negative votes. Well, they solved that problem. In the Obama election, how many districts were there where Romney got 0 votes?
57 in Philadelphia.
And Obama got over.
What are the odds? What are the odds? So what they did, what they realized, they think we're stupider than we are. What they realized was, we can't have candidates getting negative votes. So if they get a negative vote, we just make it 0. And they get away with it.
And the military votes were never.
I don't
The
know, I
military
didn't mean
votes.
to cut you off, but we gotta.
Go to my website, boyceyourvoice.com.
And
What else can I say?
we're gonna have the candidates probably April, May. We're looking at doing some
Okay.
no, maybe debate. We
If
gotta get you up to Trenton.
I need to win this convention. If I can win the convention, the Cape May County Convention, which is going to be on the 18th, which is what, next week, right? Yeah, next week. If I can win that convention, then I can be on that main slot.
But who
What I don't
runs
understand.
for the convention? Just
The committee people,
Just the committee people.
the county committee. So if anyone's here on the county committee, you can vote for me in the convention. If I can get on that first slot, I got a real good chance of getting there and fighting.
Pete, what I don't understand.
Or if you know somebody that's on the county committee, urge them to vote for me.
already.
I'd just like to say one thing before
Sure.
you go. I want to give you these sheets of information that I found that bolster what you've been saying.
Okay.
This is Noah Webster. In 1832, I think, he advised children
That's it. This is
that it was incumbent upon them
from
to
Deuteronomy.
choose moral men
Yeah.
for rulers.
That's right.
This is for gun control. Jesus asked his apostles, his disciples at the Last Supper to go buy swords.
That's right.
And how many of us know that?
He said,
Yeah.
when I sent you out 2 by 2, did you lack anything? And they said nothing. He says, well, now I tell you, if you have a purse, take it.
Right.
And if you don't have a sword, sell your garment and buy one.
And they said we have to, and he knew that, he's God, that I believe that verse was intentionally put in the Bible to let us all know we have the right to defend ourselves from God.
We had one more thing. Exodus 22 says if someone is caught breaking into your house, breaking up in your house, and you deal them a lethal blow, then you're exonerated.
And here is from Joshua, when the soldiers told him, we're with you as long as you're with God.
Amen.
The minute you're not, we're gone.
As it should be.
And this is finally from Discover the Networks. A very evil man, the head of what would become the KGB, came to American students, college students, and spoke and told them, degradation can be accomplished insidiously and effectively by consistent and continual defamation, continued and constant degradation of national leaders, national institutions, national practices, and national heroes must be systematically carried out. And there's more to all these, and you can get those on the table.
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
Well, good luck next week.